What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. As you can tell by the title, I'm going to be doing my life story, but I'm going to do a draw my life story. And I know this is a little bit different, but I wanted to try something that wasn't just me sitting down telling you my whole story. I thought this would be a fun little way to share my life with you guys. I am not a good artist, as you will soon find out in the next few seconds, which is super embarrassing because half of my family are ridiculously talented and I can't draw stick figures very well. But this video is just fun, so I really hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get started, I do have a second channel, The Jessica Henry Show. It's over here. And then we have a podcast. It's on all these little doobly-doos, and Apple Podcasts is giving me a freaking hard time. So right now, it's just gonna be on Spotify and all these other places. I'm trying. I'm not the best at technology, so honestly, it's a freaking miracle. I even got a podcast up and running, if we're being honest here. So that's the deal with that. And yeah, let's just go ahead and kick this thing off. My name is Jessica. That's supposed to be a heart. I was born to Susan and Jim. Those are my parents. I was born in upstate New York. And it's kind of boring there. They're best known for apples and maple syrup and stuff, so pretty dull. I didn't really like it there, but it was home nonetheless. How beautiful is the United States? I can't draw very well. So when I was just 4 years old, my mom, she's kind of tall, and my dad, who's a little bit shorter and Italian, they decided to break up. So it was okay. My sister and I moved in with my mom, or stayed with my mom. I didn't see my dad for a long time, and I missed him a lot. We moved around a lot, in houses and trailers, in apartments, all in New York. That's us moving. One time when I was 8 years old, my mom really wanted to follow a dream that she had, and it was leaving New York. She wanted to go to Nebraska. So we got in our car and packed up the little belongings that we had and drove. We landed in Omaha and we ran out of money and had nowhere to go. It was pretty bad and pretty scary. So we ended up staying in a homeless shelter. But it wasn't too bad because I met some really cool kids and I made some friends. Actual drawing of New York. We drove back to New York. It was okay. My mom made it seem like it was a fun adventure, so I really liked it. My mom was really sad though, because she knew she made a bad decision. But after a while, we got another apartment after we stayed with some friends for a while, and we were okay. I was a very strange kid with short hair, and people made fun of me, but I didn't really care. I read books for hours and hours. I loved any kind of fictional book you could possibly give me, and I read every single Goosebumps book cover to cover 3 times over. When I was 12-ish, I loved basketball. I was pretty good at it. I would just shoot hoops for hours and hours. And I have a pretty good 3-point shot. I had teammates, and the other girls on the team didn't like me very much, and it was very hard for me to make friends. They made fun of me and they bullied me, and I never had a good time when we weren't playing. I had no friends on the team or in life, and that was really hard for me. So one day I decided that I was gonna quit. So I didn't have a lot of friends because I was weird and I just liked to hang out by myself and read books. I was going to a big school. It was huge. I loved basketball and I missed being on the team. It was kind of weird. They had the basketball court in the basement. It was Hancock, New York. I really missed playing basketball. That was supposed to be a broken heart. I was very sad. And because of that, teachers kept telling me I had a bad attitude. But I was just really frustrated and also super young, and hormones are not good when you're becoming a teenager. So I got in trouble a lot, and that was me flipping them off. I was very sad every single day, and I didn't realize that that was depression. So one day, I got kicked out of class because a group of girls made fun of my outfit. They were really mean to me. So I threw a book at them. I got kicked out of class and sent to detention, but those kids didn't get in trouble, and they suck. So I walked to detention. When I got to detention, I sat down. I tried to go to sleep, but this girl next to me said, "Hey, we should be friends." And we started talking, and we even got in trouble in detention for talking. But she was so nice and so bubbly. That made me really happy. So after detention, we walked to our lockers, and we were talking about life and music, and she invited me to go to her house after school. And I was really excited to get invited to someone's house, but when I got there, she gave me beer for the first time. I thought it tasted really gross, but it made me bubbly and happy, and even though it tasted gross, I really liked it. And then I started to realize that alcohol comes in all different kinds of glasses and all different flavors and all different colors, and there's a million different variations of drinks that you can make. And I became obsessed with bartending, like reading books about bartending. I was super nerdy. I didn't understand how dangerous alcohol could be. I just loved it because it made me feel happy, and I was no longer socially awkward. Alcohol became the love of my life. So from that point on, I was constantly looking to go to people's houses so that I could drink. And there were a lot of house parties at that time. So one day I went to a house party. It was probably my 74th party. I don't know. And there was a lockbox upstairs, my friend said, and she told me to go up there and steal it. I was super confused as to why she would ask me to steal, but I said okay because she was my only friend. So I ran upstairs, I took the lockbox, and I ran away. That was a really bad idea. And the guy that I stole from told a bunch of people about it, and he wanted me to get beat up. So he had not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 girls come look for me. And they were all older than me. There we go, 5. And when they found me, they jumped me. I was hurt really bad. So I had to get taken to the hospital. And a doctor prescribed me my very first opiate prescription for the pain. He told me if I take that, my pain would decrease and I would be okay. I had no idea how opiates affected the brain and how damaging it could be to take this kind of a substance. It made my brain happy and dizzy and foggy, and everything disappeared, and I wasn't in pain. So I was living with my mom and going to school in Hancock, New York, at my mom's house. And I would visit my dad on the weekends. I really liked my dad's house because he had a pool in the backyard, and summers were kind of hot in upstate New York. Not as hot as Florida, but you know what I'm saying. It's always nice to swim in the summer, so I liked it there. My mom kept getting more and more worried about my friends and partying and how aggressive I had become as a very young teenager. But I loved my friends because they were the only friends that I ever had. Well, my mom decided I would go move in with my dad to get away from them, and I was very sad that I had to say goodbye to the only friends I had ever had in my life. But I moved in with my dad, and he lived in Sydney. I was in 7th grade, repeating 7th grade because I wouldn't go to school, and I got bullied all over again for my clothes and my hair and being weird, apparently. But weird is cool. Don't listen to bullies. I decided I would skip school and go to other people's houses and drink Jack Daniels. And I would smoke weed. At 14, I got in trouble for underage drinking and skipping school. I hated it so much there. I got put on PINS probation. That's my anklet. Not fun. I got drug tested all the time. At 16, I got arrested again. I made money from selling pills to a kid that was my age. That was my first felony, and I got put on felony probation. I was in jail for a short time, but then I got to go home to my dad's. I got in a really bad fight with my stepmom and dad when I was 18, and I moved out. I really had nowhere to go. I just walked down the street aimlessly. Until I decided to call my ex-boyfriend because I felt like I had nowhere to go. So we got back together. He was living with his brother. So I got a job. I was a certified nursing assistant. It was okay, but I really loved my patients. I was very sad inside because he was really awful to me. After we broke up, I was free, kind of. My addiction got really bad. I was on H. I would take it every single day, all day, every day of the week, all hours of the night. My first violation of parole was 30 days, then 60 days times 2. I got 2 of those violations. And then finally they had enough with me and gave me 180 days, and I maxed out my parole, which means I was no longer on parole. Yay. I was free at 21-ish, maybe 20, maybe 19, I don't know. I'm bad at math. Just to back up a little bit, between all my parole violations, I would go on this really weird thing called magazine crew, and they all drove around in these vans and they knocked on doors, and there were so many of them, and they were all so nice to me, and they were so happy, and they became my lifelong friends. We are still friends to this day. Most of them. I love that they traveled all around the country. I got a chance to see so many different things, but my favorite was California. A lot of us were on the run, so that's bad. But I made money. Because of that, I relapsed like 800 times. I got caught by the 5-0 and got sent back to New York, and that was when I maxed out my parole. That's the United States, can't you tell? I was in New York. I was a really bad addict, and a dealer. That scared me. So me and my boyfriend, Randy, decided that we were going to move to Iowa so that we could both get sober. But you take you everywhere you go, and I wanted to go back to New York and get back on that, which was a horrible decision. A lot of stuff happened. This is me trying to draw a cop car because what happened next changed the course of my life. It kind of looks like a cop car. Randy robbed a store, which is a horrible idea. He went to jail. I was completely shocked and very scared. I didn't want to go to jail for something I didn't do, so I ran, thinking I could detox in a hotel before they catch me. And I ended up in Arkansas, which I had never heard of before. While I was there, someone offered me a bag of rocks, and I took them, and I got really addicted to them. My addiction got even worse. I started selling those rocks so that I could use, and I ended up back in jail. I was really scared. I was there for 6 months before I got a 5-year deal. This wasn't like the last time because this time I was pregnant. So I was doing my time pregnant in jail, prison. I was so scared. I was in a lot of pain. I had no clean water. I didn't have a lot of food. And I went 3 months without prenatal vitamins. But I was mostly just really scared. And then finally, my little tiny baby was born, and she was so beautiful, and I was obsessed with her, but she got taken away, and she went to foster care. And I have PTSD from that. Finally, I got out of prison, bald apparently, to a halfway house. I had no money, but I got a job that paid $7.50 an hour as a telemarketer, and then another job that paid $10 an hour. So working 2 jobs, I was able to have money. I bought my first car, which was like a Scion XB, totally a box on wheels, but it was cheap and affordable. I worked all year to get custody of my baby. One day, I went to court for the 12th time, and an amazingly understanding judge said, yes, you can be a mom. I was so overjoyed. Micah and I walked out of court that day, crying. She was eating goldfish crackers, and she looked so precious, and I couldn't believe that I get the chance to be her mom for the rest of my life. I was so happy. When Micah came home, I had been dating a guy for 1 year. He had big muscles, and he was so strong and sexy and manly, and obviously he looks gorgeous. Just look at that drawing. His name is Reese. But I had a kid, and I was very nervous because I didn't want her to fall in love with him, and then he leaves, and I was just so scared. So I didn't know if he would be a good dad. Even though we had been dating for 1 year, I was still super nervous. So our house was in a bad neighborhood. But after a year, Micah and I decided to ask this big, strong, sexy, masculine, gorgeous man, gigantic guy, to move in with us. And he said yes. And he loved my daughter so much. 2 years later, I got one of the biggest surprises of my entire life. Those are Reese's muscles. That's baby Micah, and that's me. I found out that I was pregnant again, and our little family grew to 4, and Riley was born. So then one day, Reese came home to our house in Arkansas and told me that he just got this big promotion and we were gonna move to Illinois. And I cried because I liked Arkansas, but I was like, hey, Chi-Town baby, let's go. So we moved. And I started the craziest journey to date, my YouTube journey. And I met you guys. And I realized that my purpose is sharing my story with you guys. And right now I have been sober for 8 years. Reese and I saved our entire relationship and recently became homeowners. And the girls are much bigger now. And Reese has always been big. He's so strong. And Riley's hair is very long. It's all the way down to her butt. And they are best friends. And I have never been more happy in my entire life. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, whatever that looks like to you. And I will see you in my next one.